This morning on Carolina This Week, the second part of our look at the candidates for District 6 on Horry County Council. Carolina This Week starts now.
This is Carolina This Week. Carolina This Week with Tim McGinnis.
Good morning. Welcome to Carolina This Week. Coming up next month, voters in the Socastee and Forest Brook areas of Horry County will go to elect a District 6 councilman to replace Bob Grabowski, who died in April. First up this morning is Kirk Hanna. All right, Kirk Hanna, you're another candidate for Horry County Council District 6, one of the 6 for 6. Tell me a little bit about who you are and why do you want to represent District 6, which includes a lot of Socastee, the middle part of Horry County, Forest Brook area.
Well, Tim, District 6 is kind of cut up. It's a little funny, but I want to tell you about myself and who I am. I'm originally born and raised in Socastee on Forest Brook Road. Grew up on Forest Brook Road, riding my four-wheelers in the woods where now Forest Brook Elementary is. I remember when they started building that school out there, I thought, you know, who's going to come to a school in the middle of the woods? And now look at it. There's people and houses everywhere over there. I went to First Baptist Church in Myrtle Beach. My grandfather was Dr. Carl Compton. 30 plus years in First Baptist Church in Myrtle Beach. Grew up there with my mom playing the piano. Attended Socastee High School. While I was at high school, of course, I got involved in the construction industry. Started working with my dad, digging footers, painting houses, trimming homes, hanging cabinets, you know, and it kind of grew from there. As I graduated high school, my brothers and sisters, they encouraged me. They said, Kirk, you got to go away from school. Don't stay home, go away. So I went to USC my first year in college. I missed home. I loved Socastee. It's where I grew up. I've spent many, many days on the Intercoastal Waterway growing up. I missed home. But while I was there, I finished the entire year, so my older brother and my older sister couldn't say I didn't give it a chance. I finished the entire year, made good grades. My dad, while I was up at USC, he said, why don't you go ahead and take that test for the general contractor? So while I was up there, I took my test for my general contractor's license. Back then, you had to sit in an auditorium with real plans, real paper, wasn't on a computer like it is with multiple questions. Took my test, finished school, and came home. I then proceeded, of course, to take my plumbing and electrical license, so I carry all of those licenses. I came home, got involved in the construction industry, and I just branched out from there. Been very successful. I own Hanco, built a multi-million-dollar construction firm. 49 plus people depend on me weekly for their paycheck. So I am a hard worker, and that's who I am. I think that the people of District 6 need somebody that's a real hard worker, that's going to stand up for them, and they're real.
Well, when you look at District 6, what's the big issue? What's the big issue you'd want to champion on council for District 6?
Well, District 6 is really funny. Right now we have, of course, the 707 widening that we as the taxpayers are paying for, even though it's a state road, which isn't right. You know, the state should be forking that bill, but we, the county, are stepping up for that. We have the new school that's been announced that's going on Big Block Road there. We need to do some planning. Even though 707 is being widening right now, we need to plan for that school so we don't have the road in, and then the school's built, and now we're having to come back and do construction there. We need to plan for that. We have the recreation facility on Enterprise Road that, of course, I don't think people really know how much it is used, whether it be RCA, race cars, the archery clubs that use it, the soccer, the playground equipment that just the people around the area use. I'd like to expand that and help out the community in that area also.
Let's talk a little bit about roads. You mentioned the widening, and you know we're in this era where the state can't really figure out a way to fix the roads, at least this far into the legislative session, which ends on June 4th. They haven't figured it out yet at this point in May. What about roads? Because roads are bad everywhere, and I've driven through District 6 just in the past few days, and I hit a pothole or two.
Well, you know, it's funny. There are still dirt roads in our district that have not been paved, that homeowners, they call the county over and over, supposed to be on the ride to, didn't get paved on the ride to, or didn't get pushed through on the ride to like they were promised. There's several roads that need to be paved, potholes that are fixed.
So looking to Road 3 or Ride 3, are there things that you would really want to influence?
Oh, almost definitely. For the people of my district, you know, we pay taxes too. It doesn't need, I'm running for the people of this district, not Horry County as a whole. Yes, you have to work together with Horry County as a whole, but the people of this district need somebody that will stand up for them.
Let's talk about crime, public safety. Is there a crime problem in District 6?
Is there a crime problem? Of course there is. There is more of a drug problem, and of course if you have drugs, you have crime. I think that the average person doesn't really realize the amount of drugs that are truly in Sockasty, District 6, Horry County as a whole. And I think you need to get to the underlying issues of crime to solve the crime. Our public safety sector, they work really hard and they're very dedicated. A lot of them even work when they're off the clock and don't get compensated for them. We need to really stand up for them and
There's been talk of cutting benefits to some county employees, including public safety workers, losing people through attrition, that type of thing. It's tough balancing a budget. I got to think that that's probably one of the tougher things in politics, is trying to make everybody happy when it comes down to budget time. What about, what would you be doing right now? What would you be looking into?
You know, that's really not fair for the public safety sector. Horry County has the lowest paid public safety officials than any municipality in this area. So they already start off low. And then if you promise them benefits and now you're going to take away those benefits, is that right? Is that fair? While other people, on the other hand, are getting raises and you're cutting these people's benefits? Yeah. You know, I don't know what I'd say about that, but I don't think it's right. What other people would say.
All right, well, last question for you, and kind of a loaded one, but I don't live in your district. But if I did live in your district, well then, why should I vote for you?
Well, you know, what I think, Tim, is the people of the district need somebody that will really represent them. It's all about leadership. Politics are all talk and no action. Well, guess what? I'm not a politician. You don't see me wearing a suit up here. This is who I am. I'm Kirk Hanna. I'm not a politician. I'm doing it for you, and you need somebody to represent you. You need smart leadership and real competence. I return phone calls. I don't run from problems. I approach them head on. I'm a working man. I work every day. I wear my hard hat, and I do what it takes to get the job done. Like many of you and many of your friends and neighbors, I've become increasingly concerned, increasingly anxious, and increasingly frustrated with government, particularly Conway. As your next county councilman, I'll focus on efforts on addressing the challenges that real hard-working people right here in Sockasty, are facing each and every day, whether it be taxes, spending, economic development, roads and infrastructure, crime, over-regulation, and redundant ordinances. Vote for me, June the 16th.
All right, Kirk Hanna, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back with more Carolina This Week. Welcome back to Carolina This Week. We're looking at the candidates for Horry County Council, District 6. The election is next month. Next up is Carrie Rowell. Cam Crawford is joining me now, one of the 6 for 6. Kind of a big race. Cam, you have a little political experience, or a lot of political experience around Horry County. Tell people who don't know who you are a little bit about who you are and why do you want to be the District 6 representative on council?
Okay, I'll just give you a little history. After I graduated from Coastal in 2004, I worked for our congressman then, who was Henry Brown, and worked with him for about 7 years. Got some good experience there. Earned a master's degree while I worked for him. In 2008, I met my wife, Heather, and we married in 2011. I was fortunate enough to have her as my wife. And then in late 2011, co-founded a small communications company with a friend of mine. And through that experience, we worked on a number of different projects, issue-based, and some campaigns and related, those sorts of related things. But anyway, so I guess my story begins for this position with going back to 2011. Our home was burglarized. And as a result of that got me thinking about our community and the impact that crime has on it. And so out of that, I started thinking about, what I could do, and I started to consider the possibility, of pursuing something on county council. Of course, we had Bob at the time and had a good relationship with him, and so didn't want to do anything there, but just thinking forward, that kind of got me thinking about it. And so here we are now. And I would also say that during my time with Henry Brown, working with him and the various municipalities, you know, it helped kind of enlighten me as to the unique needs that our area has, particularly infrastructure and that sort of thing.